Hello everyone, my name is Guanshen Jing. Today, I'm going to make a brief introduction of the academic papers in geoscience. I'm going to start with introducing classification of papers in geoscience. And then I will focus on the structure of geological papers. At last, I will introduce the top 5 academic journals in geoscience to you. First, let's take a look at the classification of geological papers. Generally speaking, geological papers always divided into 4 types. They are experimental papers, reported papers, theoretical papers, and review papers. Okay, now I will give a detailed description on the structure of 4 different types geological papers. The structure of experimental papers always contain the following parts: introduction, experimental method, experimental results, and analysis of the experimental results, and conclusions. Let's take a look at this example for the experimental papers. It describes experimental study of the transport of gold through hydration of gold chloride. In this paper, it also studied with a brief introduction of the geologic background. And in part 2 and part 3, it also describes the experimental method and the experimental results. In part 4 and part 5, the analysis result was discussed, and the last part is conclusion. The structure of the reported papers always contains the following parts: introduction, general information of the research field, description of the phenomena, analytical results and interpretations, scientific significance, and conclusions. Here is an example of reported papers. This paper mainly describes the discovery of the oldest rocks in Kulukatej area of China and its geological significance. In part 1, part 2, and part 3, it also described the geological background of his research field. The analytical method, results, and the scientific significance was discussed in part 4 and part 5. The last part is conclusion. The structure of theoretical papers always contain introduction, proposal of the theory, verification and application of the theory, and conclusions. Let's take a look at this example. This is an example of application of the critical comb wedge theory to the hyper-extended magma pool rifted margins. After a brief introduction of the geological background, the theory was proposed in paragraph 2. In part 3, it also describes the application of the theory. And the results of application was discussed in part 4 and part 5. The last part is conclusion. In a review paper, the author always review the latest progress in a certain field and sum up some hot or frontier problems. Let's take a look at this example. This is an example of the formation mechanism for the porphyry ore deposit in magmatic arcs. After a brief introduction of the geological background, the author mainly focused on the review of the latest progress of the geological background of porphyry ore deposits from part 2 to part 7. And the last also summed up the implication for exploration. In the end, I will introduce the top 5 academic journals of geoscience to you. But before that, I want you to know what is an impact fact. The impact fact of a journal is a measure reflecting the yearly average number of citations to recent articles published in that journal. It is frequently used as a proxy for the relative importance of a journal within the field. So journals with higher impact factors often deemed to be more important than those with lower ones. Nature Geoscience is the top 1 journal in geoscience, with an impact factor of 13.94. It covers all aspects of Earth and planetary science, and broadly encompasses solid Earth processes, surface and atmospheric dynamics, Earth's system and history, and so on. Reviews of Geophysics ranked the second in Geoscience with an impact factor of 12.34. It is an invitation-only reviews journal that provide overviews of recent research in all areas of Earth and space science. Annual Review of Marine and Science, Annual Review of Earth and Planetary Science ranked number 3 and number 4 in Geoscience. It usually highlights the major questions that remain to be addressed, likely course of research in upcoming years, and outlines the practical applications and general significance of research to society. Bulletin of American Meteorology Society ranked top 5 in Geoscience. It is the flagship of the American Meteorology Society and publishes articles of interest and significance for weather, water, and climate change, and reviews for American Meteorology Society members. Okay, that's all. Thank you.